Hello, world. I am Joffey Joe, and this is the show. Call it how I see it. And on today's episode, I got a couple of things I want to talk to you all about. First and foremost, I got Jan Carlo. He's in the house, and he's going to quarterback his own take. I'm going to join him as we talk Week 1 matchups in the NFL world because the NFL is finally back, and we're really excited about it. So we have to go into detail about it, so you don't want to miss out on that. And secondly, I have the return of Brandon Barretta. Yes, my boy Brando is back in the house, and unfortunately, not under the best circumstances, given that we suffered a tragic loss in the hockey world. But I'm going to let Brandon take the floor and get a little personal with his connection with Johnny Gaudreau and the Gaudreau family, as we all know that Gaudreau and his brother had passed away tragically last Thursday due to a drunken driver accident. So we're going to get into detail. It's going to get deep. You don't want to miss out because it's going to be an action-packed episode.
All right, now JC back in the building. Let's do it. I wanted to lead this one because it's week 1. We got to talk about it. We absolutely have to talk about it.
Yes.
There's a couple important games we need to talk about, and can't just leave it out anymore. The time is here. Okay. 2 days away, 48 hours. Yeah, can't wait anymore.
I'm excited, Jay. I'm really excited for this. I mean, I'm glad that I'm glad you got this opportunity to quarterback everything. So I'm interested to see what you got scheduled up for this week 1 matchups.
I just wanted to go over the important ones because we've had a pretty eventful offseason.
To say the least.
We can start with Thursday night.
Yeah, let's do it.
Kansas City, Baltimore. I mean,
let's do it.
Are we ever going to get over that AFC Championship? Is Zay Flowers are
the
ghost gone of the drop touchdown?
The redemption game.
Can Lamar get past Patrick Mahomes at any point?
There's a lot of build up with this game. Honestly, like it's going to be interesting to see, especially with the factors of these two rematching and the way things ended in that championship game. So we'll see how that turns out.
And then Baltimore kind of added this tank.
Yeah.
In the back.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, a battering ram.
I think we need to talk about that. Derrick Henry.
For sure. I mean, it looks like I would say that I don't want to say his armor's chinked. I mean, he still had a really good year last year, especially with this offense. I mean, Harbaugh, we know that he likes to run the rock.
No running back friendly.
And then given that most of his running backs last year went to his brother's team, I mean, looking at this moving forward, it looks like Derrick Henry's going to maybe get 250 to 300 carries again this year.
Just look at it, though. The matchup I'm excited for is that Derrick Henry versus Chris Jones collision because it's coming.
Oh, yeah,
it's
dude.
Absolutely coming.
I know. If they meet each other at the line, bro, it's going to be a banger.
It's must-watch TV. With the matchup between the two teams, they're going to be facing each other in AFC championships to come.
Right.
We could see a rematch this year, but who knows? But I think this is how do I say? This is, it's a statement game.
It is a statement game. Even though it's the first game of the year, I definitely agree with you with that aspect. It definitely is a statement game because if Baltimore can prove that they can, beat Kansas City and take on the Giant and, beat them in their house and stuff, it will send shockwaves throughout the rest of the NFL, and a lot of other teams will take notice and take Baltimore serious. And overall, I mean, from my perspective, even though this is the first game, it's important that Baltimore sets a leg up because if they can take this on and beat the Chiefs, and especially considering their division the way it is with Cleveland and Cincinnati, even getting Joe Burrow back, they're going to need to get a leg up, and then a win like this will definitely help later on down the line.
It's a tone-setting game.
For sure.
For sure.
All
right, well, sliding down the list here, I think Friday night in Brazil is another important tone-setting game with our birds.
I know. That's pretty crazy, too. I mean, given everything going around this game, the NFL forcing this down our throats, having a big wildfire going on and whatnot. Darius Slay coming out the other day telling his family to stay home and not visit and watch him play in this game because of the crime rate and everything involved. I mean, this probably wasn't the most calculated move. Probably some interns or somebody internally thought that this would be a good idea to pick this stadium and play in this spot, but not really considering the outside factors. And probably never even being in Brazil, stepping foot in Brazil and really feeling out the area and stuff. They're like, let's pick that spot. They got a good stadium and let's go play over there.
Maybe Brazil wasn't the worst decision. The bad decision came from the teams in which you were sending down there.
Yes.
You're telling these people not to wear green, and you pick two of the greatest teams in the league.
I know. You got green and yellow, and then you got green and white. At least the Eagles, they're conscious about trying to respect it since they are the home team here, trying to be black-white, and then having the green numbers, which is still green. But, and then the Packers, they basically just we don't give a fuck. We're just going to pull up in our green and yellow and then go from there. So we'll see how
hopefully that works in our favor somehow, some way.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see this new look coaching staff that we have there.
Yes.
What is Kellen Moore's offense going to look like with the starters? Because we did not get a taste of it in the offseason, in the preseason.
Right.
What is Vic Fangio's defense going to look like? Are we still going to be giving up chunk plays in the secondary? And there's a lot of questions that need to be answered.
I agree. And then this is the stepping stone, Jay. This is where we go. We step in, we buckle up, and, we fight a team that's really good. I mean, they're on the uprise. I could see them winning the division. We'll see how they end up
turning out. They weren't one and done last year, I'll tell you that.
No, they weren't. They definitely got on a run. They got hot at the right time.
At the right time.
with
They,
that.
they thumped the team they're supposed to thump, though.
No, exactly. Like, they almost took down the monster, and they should have, other than some influenced bullshit. But NFL kicked in. But in terms of that narrative, it seems like Jordan Love, especially since he got his extension like he wanted, it seems like he's got the ball in his court, and everything else is his canvas. He can just paint the picture, and wherever it goes, it will sell. And if it sells, then the Packers will be in a good spot. So moving forward,
Yeah, their division is going to come down to them in Detroit, I think.
Right.
Personally, and
I
think Chicago is going to be there, but not yet.
Yeah.
And Minnesota is quarterback away.
They
Sam
are.
Darnold's not doing it.
No, I mean, given with the weapons, even though Addison's like getting suspended, I really thought they tooled their team pretty well. And then seeing how JJ McCarthy did have some bright spots this preseason, especially with the play action throws that he had for touchdowns and stuff. It's going to be interesting to see them in the future. But this year, I'm not taking a flyer.
This year, no McCarthy, Sam Darnold, and an Addison suspension.
I don't. It's not a good mix.
Not buying.
No.
Not yet.
And then this whole hoopla around Brian Flores too. So there's a lot of
Not too much going on there.
I agree, but that division's gonna be interesting to watch, and I do think the Bears are gonna be an interesting team. They might be 9-8, 8-9. They're gonna fight. They're
gonna flirt with it, but I don't think they're quite there.
Right. They'll definitely take a step up, and I think overall, in the long run of things, I think they'll show that Caleb Williams was the right pick to do, especially since they surrounded him with the right pieces around him, bolstering the line.
Yeah, he don't have no excuses.
Yeah, getting the DeAndre Swift. They really don't have any excuses, and then you allow Eberflus to actually use his expertise on defense and do the job he's really supposed to do.
Yeah, about time.
Exactly.
All right, sliding down the list.
Yeah.
What do we got here? Oh, there we go. Game we talked about a little bit earlier. Buffalo, Arizona.
That's an interesting matchup. I mean, if we look back at it, if we look at back what the Bills did this offseason, it looks like they definitely took a step back. At least they let some people go. I mean, losing Stephon Diggs, it seemed like that marriage between him and Josh Allen wasn't going to work or anything.
Ran its course.
It did. It definitely ran its course. That's the best way to put it. But I mean, in the playoff run that they had, there was Shakir. He kind of soaked up a lot of Stephon Diggs' targets and stuff, and adding Mac Hollins and then getting Coleman in the draft. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I do like their 2 tight end set, and James Cook.
Oh, yeah.
James Cook's going to be like a fantasy prodigy this year, putting up numbers and stuff. They're going to be interesting to watch. But I mean, them losing defensive guys, they lost Milano already, and losing
Milano, Tre'Davious,
and then they lost Jordan Poyer to Miami. So they lost some
lost
pieces
in division.
Right, exactly. So that could end up biting them in the ass later, because we all know that Miami ended up choking up their division lead to Buffalo, and having an inside guy that knows the ins and outs of an organization, especially like Jordan Poyer, who's a former captain and knows Sean McDermott inside and out, that cerebral aspect will definitely come into factor later on. That's for you, God. My big fan of Dolphins.
Well, I want to see. I think Buffalo's going to spread the ball a lot more now that Stephon is gone.
Right.
I think Shakir is going to probably be their lead receiver as of right now, with Curtis Samuel coming off of a hammy.
That's another factor.
And Keon Coleman being a rookie.
Yeah.
Do I think he can make an impact? Yes, but I think Shakir's familiarity and the way that he burst on the scene late in the season, I think it's going to pay dividends. Arizona, on the other hand,
yes.
What are we going to see? Kyler Murray's back.
Yes.
Marvin Harrison. What are we
Maserati
doing?
Marv.
What are we doing?
Yes.
But
they still got
the defense under Gannon is going to be something you have to pay attention to.
I agree. I mean, you definitely saw them down the stretch last year where they even beat us and stuff in our own house. But that team looks like they were rallying around this guy. They, as much as like a joke as it was when we saw this guy coming into their organization and shaking hands and go or whatever with freaking Kyler Murray or whatever. Yeah, it looked like a disaster waiting to happen. But believe it or not, somehow in there, as goofy as this guy is, looking like the guy from Impractical Jokers or whatnot.
My man Murray.
Yeah, he's got this team where they need to go, and it seems like I think they're going to take that extra step. I mean, they got McBride. He had a good year last year. So got James Conner, who everyone loves playing with, from what I understand. They just love his energy and stuff.
He just has to stop loving injured reserve.
Yeah, that's the only thing. He almost plays too hard for them sometimes, where he can't control his body the way it does. But I mean, overall, he's still a great person to have on your team, especially everything he's been through. He's like a battering ram himself. So,
yeah, for sure.
And then I mean, we'll see how things progress and look up after time. So that's definitely a team I like to watch out for this year. I think they'll be on the cusp. They'll be fighting with the Bears and other teams, maybe being 8-9 or 9-8 for that final wild card spot.
Right.
So we'll see how that turns out.
That's going to be another interesting one.
Yeah, for sure.
And then last but not least, the Monday night game.
Okay.
We have to talk about it. Okay. This is the first Aaron Rodgers we've seen in almost 2 years.
Yes, it
is. It's been 1 year less 90, almost 2 years less 90 seconds, because that's all he gave us last year.
I know. He came out with the flag and it was all over.
that was a wrap.
Yes, it was.
Does San Francisco have a Super Bowl hangover?
I want to hope so. I really do. I'm just really tired of these guys. What do you think?
They got the refrigerator, the left tackle that just signed the contract.
He's 37 years old now. He's kind of entering that Jason Peters area of we are saying like, are you still like the best tackle or are you just like serviceable, which is still fucking better than
Well, his serviceable is better than most.
It's still better than 90% of the league. So
right.
I mean, honestly, if you see that guy line up across you, it's not the guy you want to look at. I mean, he is a mammoth of a human being, and he's always been chippy. He's always trying to like lay somebody out.
As big as he is, he's one of the most agile people I've seen since Peters.
I agree. Honestly, they're like really on neck and neck level type of stuff. Like, and I mean, like also too to where they are as a team, he's a big piece of that. If they never got him from Washington, they probably won't be where they are right now. Honestly, like they're all he takes up 2 spots on that line. That's just how good he is.
Shout out to the Commanders. They never replaced him.
I know, I know. It's just like the Commanders, Washington being Washington. So I mean, it helped us, especially those games where they had Carson Wentz and stuff. So, but yeah,
I look at it like this: the Jets on paper, they look strong.
They do. They look like a paper champion. Like we expected them like this last year, honestly, especially with Aaron Rodgers and all the hype. But the injury question mark, and then there's some rumblings about him not being a good teammate, at least from what I've been reading. So we'll see. I don't know if his arrogance and cockiness might lead them in a bad area. So
arrogance and cockiness. It still doesn't trump availability. If he's not there, they're worse off than they were last year.
I agree. Well, maybe not. And I
forgot
Tyrod's there. My boy V-Tech, he's there. I mean, that's definitely an upgrade over Zach Wilson. But is that going to get you into the playoffs? I don't think so. I really don't. Especially like his style of play. He runs around.
He showed flashes this preseason. I was almost impressed. Almost.
With Tyrod?
Huh? No, with Wilson.
Oh, yes.
I was almost impressed.
Almost won the job, but he couldn't pull it through.
He was competing hard for that third string quarterback.
Him and Jarrett Stidham, bro. Brutal. What a brutal quarterback room, honestly. But I mean,
I think Bo Nix is going to be a breath of fresh air in there, honestly.
I do too. I think he's prepared for that situation. Sean Payton will definitely groom him. Sean Payton hasn't really had a quarterback with this type of skill set, like being able to be mobile and accurate in the pocket. So it's going to be interesting to see how he utilizes him and stuff like that in situations too. So,
man, I forgot about one game.
Go ahead.
It's actually pretty sneaky.
Yes.
The game with 2 new quarterbacks. The game with 2 new quarterbacks starting. Atlanta and Pittsburgh.
Okay. Yeah, that's a new can of worms right there. I mean, our boy Glenn.
Did Pittsburgh pick the right quarterback?
That's going to be a question, too. I mean, we all just saw yesterday that Russ is now a captain for that team. So, I mean, being a leader. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, him being being a quote-unquote leader and trying to lead this team, we'll see how that turns out. But honestly, if it's Pittsburgh, they're going to have to play the most Pittsburgh style of football ever, just good defense and running the ball, and then maybe having Russ not turn the ball over or hold the ball too long in the pocket when they need to make the throw.
And that's no easy task against this revamped Atlanta defense.
No, absolutely.
They have went on a splurge the last 3 weeks. I don't want to talk about it.
I know. Honestly, they've been getting players left and right, and honestly, I took them in my fantasy league, both leagues. I'm sold on their defense from Grady Jackson.
He has himself a lot of toys to play with.
Exactly, and then we forget that he's a defensive-minded coach. He really solidified, Los Angeles and stuff. So like, for where he is now and being in a position of power again, I think he's ready for this type of run with his team. And then I think Kirk Cousins could possibly have a Matt Ryan type of year like he did in 2017.
That is going to be one of my questions. How is he after the Achilles?
It's going to be interesting. I know their offensive line is still a little shaky, and that could be their elephant in the room. So we'll have to see how that turns out too. But I mean, having Bijan, having Drake, having Kyle Pitts, who I see might not be as good as everyone think he is. But and then they've got Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney. I know they lost Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney from.
That's exactly who. Next question.
He could be a serviceable number 2, especially if Kurt knows how to spread the ball out, which he's shown in the past.
I think he can be a serviceable guy. I don't think he really got a fair shake in Chicago, but that's because I don't think Justin Fields got a fair shake in Chicago.
Yes, I think what they did in Chicago, they set things up right for now. But if they were to give this type of tools available now for Justin Fields, I think things would have been different.
Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows?
I know they banked everything on Caleb, and they didn't really bank everything on Justin Fields, which isn't fair. So.
Yeah. So who? Yeah. How do we tell?
Yeah, it's going to be a big tale, but this week 1 has got a lot of action-packed stuff, and also too. I mean, we also got you got Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford going at it again on Sunday night. That's another one.
Playoff rematch.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting to watch. I mean, the history of both of these guys playing for both franchises, and
I did tell you what, the LA Rams team. They could be scary. Cooper Kupp's healthy this year.
So is Puka.
That's big.
Kyron Williams, I believe in. I mean, I know you're feeling some type of way about the punt return game with him, but he could be a player, man, honestly.
He could be a player.
He had a good stretch last year.
He continues to roll off of what he started with himself last year.
Yeah, exactly. Just ride that wave and see where it takes him. Because that offense needs a running back, and if it doesn't have a running back, it doesn't look right. Like we saw what it was when Todd Gurley was there, or even some of these other filling guys. Like C.J. Anderson was able to have success over there. So Sean McVay knows what he's doing with running the ball.
Yeah, he does.
So it's going to be interesting to watch. So I definitely think they're going to be a playoff team. If they don't win the division because they're battling with San Fran or whatever,
they'll get a wild
they'll
card
pull
spot.
off another wild card spot. And honestly,
they improved.
They did.
They got Tre'Davious.
Yes.
If Tre'Davious doesn't tear, if he doesn't tear something week 1 or huge.
Yeah, I know. He definitely helps in that aspect. I mean, losing Aaron Donald's huge. That's a player that no one ever can replace.
That's a generational talent. You're not feeling that at all.
No, you're not. But I mean, given everything else they have set up there and bolstering, like I think they'll be okay. They were able to groom some guys in the defensive backfield and stuff. I know they just traded Ernest Jones too because of a contract dispute. But I mean, I think Sean McVay's smart enough to realize what he has available, and
he knows how to work with what he has.
Exactly, and he'll make the most of it too. So that's a team to watch out for, honestly. And honestly, for the most part, I think if they go on a good year, if they have a good year, or if they make the wild card or win the division, I think it speaks wonders about Matthew Stafford, and I think that can solidify the stamp that he is a Hall of Fame quarterback. I mean,
Matthew Stafford and Kirk Cousins, they kind of
in the same boat, but I give Matthew Stafford a nod because of his playoff success and winning the Super Bowl. So if he can get on another playoff run, I definitely just think that just only solidifies his case, and that kind of wipes out some of the years where he was injured and stuff like that. So it should be interesting.
Detroit,
yeah,
coachless and winless,
right,
sad.
Yeah, exactly.
But all in all, man, I am very excited for this week 1.
Me too, bro. I've been waiting, bro. I've been salivating at the mouth, waiting for this stuff to happen.
Summer's over.
Yes, fall's here.
But now our games begin now.
Yes, and like I said, me and you will be tuned in on Friday and in sync with the game and watching everything. Hopefully the field doesn't catch on fire from these damn fires that they got going down there and stuff. But,
Yeah.
I don't think we'll be seeing another game in Brazil anytime soon.
Not anytime soon. Not with the backlash of this. And
that's what I think it would have been a better idea if they put this in somewhere in the regular season, in the middle of the season, not like week 1. Honestly, I think it would have.
The first game, they could do it on a Friday night, but do it on a Friday night in Philly at the Link. Let's get fired up.
Exactly.
What are we doing?
Exactly. I mean, they're selling tickets now for those that want to go to the stadium and enjoy the game, but overall, it's not the same type of experience when they're not playing.
I need to see the fireworks.
I need to see people hitting
I need to get fired up. Like, let's go.
Exactly.
Yeah, but all in all, man, I think we went over everything we needed to for this week.
For sure.
I appreciate you letting me quarterback the huddle this week.
Absolutely, bro. And we're going to be doing this a little bit more, too. So it's something you might have to get used to.
All right. Sounds good, my brother.
Awesome. But, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you having me and doing this way. And it's been fun.
Of course. It was cool doing it from the other side.
Awesome. But, all right, Jay. I'll talk, and, we'll take it from there.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, peace.
All right, peace.
As you just iterated, welcome back.
The Prodigy.
Welcome back, Mr. Prodigy, Mr. Brandon Barretta. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm doing better than most. Let's put it that way.
Well, that's a good thing. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to have you back on.
I woke up today. I got Jesus on my side. I got a son that adores me. I got 2 dogs that love the shit out of me, and I got a wife that just wants to be with me. So I'm blessed.
Good, man. I'm glad to hear you're blessed. It sounds like you do have a lot, to be thankful for and to be grateful for. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear you're back, and I'm glad to have you here. Unfortunately, though, what we have to talk about is a little, on the sad side of things, as another great athlete was taken from us the other night. Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew Gaudreau was struck by a drunk driver at 7:00 in Salem County, also known as Oldstown Township, I believe. But very tragic incident, shook the NHL world. And, you having the expertise in hockey and, also being familiar with Mr. Gaudreau because you guys were in the same age range, tournaments and other stuff like that. I mean, definitely familiar with his play and stuff. So, how did you feel when you heard you heard the bad news?
Yo, I'm not going to lie. The hairs on my arms stood up.
Yeah.
And, it took me a minute to process what the dude at my job was telling me. Yeah. And, he came up to me and he was like, yo, B, he's like, did you hear the news? And I was like, no. And he was like, really? He's like, you're usually on top of stuff. And I'm like, dude, just tell me what's going on. And he was like, Johnny Gaudreau and his brother just passed away. And I'm like, huh? Nah, what are you talking about? That don't make no sense.
Right.
And he's like, no, dude. He's like, look it up. So I looked it up and I saw that, it was, all I did was type in his name.
And it blew up.
And it was just straight to a news article. And, I called my dad. That was the first person I called because my dad, I don't know have had hundreds of conversations with Gay over the years.
Yeah.
Like, and, I knew Gay and I knew Johnny and I knew Maddie, and I grew up competing with them on teams. I grew up competing against them on teams. And, to be honest with you, like, I'm getting chills right now. Even
it hits home, man. It hits home.
Like,
it hits home.
It probably hurts me and everyone else because they were the nicest people and the nicest children and just the best family that you really could. Like, mother and father who loved each other, that worked their butts off. Children, multiple of them, not even just, Johnny and Maddie's sister, like, supportive of one another and everything they did. Like, for what probably makes me the most upset is that man, Gay, gave those boys everything. And there's a lot of parents that do that.
Yeah.
But they ran away with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to watch your children accomplish their goals and how you did it, especially, Johnny, and then, Maddie had his own way. Like, Maddie was special and, like, literally his own way.
Right.
But, to see this happen to them after everything, like, Johnny, 5'9", dude.
Yeah. I mean, he's like
140 pounds soaking wet, drafted in the NHL. Like, and there were so many doubts and so many things, and, like, the kid just became a superstar.
He did.
Like, really think about it, dude. Like, his name is Johnny Hockey, and there's a reason for it. And
he meant a lot, man. He did.
Yeah, and, to see someone, I don't know if you watched the video, you probably have, of the man who is accused, right, of it. No remorse.
No.
I have to sit here until next week in jail over a holiday week. Like, what are you worried about, dude? You worried about going and getting drunk over Labor Day weekend and partying? Like, dude, you got the wrong thing. And to be honest with you, I think that's what hurts the most is someone who has no purpose like that.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, it's
taking
really
two people, and to be honest with you, two people of God, two sons of God, two great human beings, two great young men, and I think that's probably the worst part about it is to sit there and see someone like that and then hear the charges.
Yeah, it's
like,
not.
That dude should never see the light of day.
I know, and I mean,
never should see the light of day again. And I'll be honest with you, if this goes, on the internet and people hear this, what I'm saying,
say what you gotta say.
Dude,
say what you gotta say.
Dude should not see the light of day after what he did to two great people.
I know,
like, truthfully, and I'm not gonna sit here and say I was best friends with them. I'm not gonna say that, but they definitely had an impact on my life. I was privileged enough to be able to step on the ice with them.
Yeah.
Not only was and to be honest with you, not only was I able to step on the ice with them, but I was able to compete with them at a very high level.
Yeah.
And to be able to sit there and play on teams against Johnny,
it's special.
And my coach be like, you gotta go play Gaudreau all game. You're on defense, and your only goal, your only achievement is to make sure that he doesn't put the puck in the back of the net, because if you're not on the ice, he's going to score 9.
Exactly.
And guess what would happen? There'd be times there's mismatches, and Johnny would end up out there against the second line or the third line. And there it is. There's a goal. Like,
exactly.
There's some between the legs spinorama.
They made adjustments around you.
Like it's just like
it's a chess match, but you're involved in that chess match.
It was awesome to be able to compete with that, because I could sit there and look back, and you know what, I had regrets that maybe I didn't take it as serious, right? But like when I got to sit back and be able to watch him and be like, yo, that kid's special, and I knew he was special from the get go. But it's like it was just incredible, and then to see this, it's just like heartbreaking, man.
Yeah, it really hits home.
Because the talent, the presence, the love, the everything, the passion. Like, dude, Boston College.
Yeah, he put them on the map.
In a national championship.
Yeah. He did some big things over there.
Right after that, getting the invite to the USA Juniors and going and winning gold, and then getting drafted and
being rookie of the year. Yeah, rookie of the year. Rookie
Cinderella,
team.
Bro. Like Cinderella story, and then going and watching, and it's like, bro, this dude's at the All-Star game playing on the same ice with Sidney Crosby. Like, he's that than Sidney Crosby. Like, this dude gave Jaromir Jagr his last fucking goal in the NHL. Like,
yes, he came out and said that today, too.
He did the penalty shootout in the All-Star game with Voracek. Like,
yo, he's been there. He's put up 100 points multiple seasons. Like, he's got like over 740 points. Yeah, at 5'9", yeah.
At 5'9" and a kid from South Jersey.
Right. It's like the total underdog story, honestly.
Like, there's nothing that beats that. And for someone to take that away for their own selfish needs of drinking and driving in the day of Uber, or to pass someone on the shoulder of a road because you're in such a rush, right? Like, people, selfish, and to be honest with you, like, this is a bigger problem with society that I see on a daily basis. Like, a few months back in the wintertime, last year or early this year, I was driving through work in Atlantic City, and I almost watched a lady kill another woman.
Yeah.
And the worst thing about it, Joe, was I was literally like looking at her about a minute before it happened at a red light. And I turned to the dude that was driving, and I was like, yo, that lady's got some of the most beautiful hair I've ever seen, right? Like, weird, but it was like early in the morning. Like, it was like 7:30 in the morning. And, I just happened to notice her, and, we start going, and she's literally not even a full car length ahead. And the next thing you know, she was a little bit in front of us, probably about 5 feet. And the next thing you know, all I hear is the dude driving going, oh, shit, oh, shit, oh, shit. And I look up, and literally, Joe, it looked like something out of a movie. Just 2 cars just blew up. This lady came flying through the intersection coming from the expressway right through the wall. Damn. Total red light, dude. We had green lights for 6 straight streets, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, when that light hits, like, you have 6 roads until Angelo's. Right? And that's all green. And that was a red light for a very long time period. And she came flying through at about 50 miles an hour. And I just remember we pulled over to the side, and I just thought I was going to go up to this lady's vehicle, and she was going to be dead. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there was no hesitation. I told the dude, pull over. I got out before the car even stopped, because it was just like, what just happened?
Yeah.
But I get her, and dude, her hands are stuck like this. Like, she couldn't even move her hands. I'm like, holy shit, this lady's going to be paralyzed. Right? I'm just thinking the worst, because I just watched it happen literally 5 feet away from me. And the lady who hit her, I then go over to help her because she's, like, stumbling out of her vehicle. And I was like, what happened? And she's like, I don't know. I couldn't see with the sun, and I'm running late for a job interview. And I was like, no, it wasn't that the sun was there. It was, you were running late for a job interview, because I looked at my phone, and it was like, what did I say, like 7:30, right? Almost. Yeah, so you almost killed someone to get to a job interview.
Yeah.
Like, your life is that much more important that the first thing that comes out of your mouth is just like, you're not even caring about what just happened. You're just like, oh, I'm running late for a job interview. Like, do you think I'm going to make it? Like,
yeah, I didn't.
What, are you kidding me right now? Like, that's the problem with society that, like, I see. It's just like, with the vehicles and the drinking and driving. It's just like, we live in this, I know it's going to sound a little crazy. You can cut this if you want.
No,
but,
it's okay. Say what you have to say.
Satanic demon mindset of me, I, instead of, like, actually thinking about the community around them and, like, how their decisions can impact not only just a small group, like a family, but, like, look at what this did. Like, LeBron James tweeted about this.
Yeah.
This was before baseball games across the entire country. This was before WNBA games across the country. This had every NBA player talking about it. This had soccer players talking about it. This had the old NHL in shock. Like,
I know. It sent shockwaves everywhere.
This wasn't just hockey. This was
a nationwide. It affected the nation nationwide.
Yeah, because, like, when you look at it, like, it's just like, bro, what does the world come to that, like, this happens? And, like, for me personally, what my godly relationship that I'm building and that I do have, it's like, everything that happened, I hope everyone, starts to have those come to Jesus moments if they haven't before.
Okay.
Because, like, I think that's what, like, a lot of people need to take from this is, like, you gotta have, some type of faith, that the world can get better.
No,
because,
I agree.
Like, this is just like an absolute tragedy, dude.
It is. It really is.
First off,
it's really sad,
like,
honestly.
Think about this, dude. They might not have even been in the same state, let alone riding bikes together, with their sister's wedding. And, like, for this to happen at the time period of their sister's wedding, it's just like,
it's a lot,
not
honestly.
Cool, man.
It's not cool. And, that's why we have to, do our part and not drink and drive. It's really important that we don't drink and drive.
It's the most imperative thing, dude.
Honestly, some people need to learn more than others, and drinking and driving is not a cool thing to do. We're not invincible, and it's really important that we don't be selfish and put ourselves in a position where we harm others that are, are innocent and don't deserve that type of thing, honestly.
Because it's not about you, and that's what I'm trying to say, is it's not, when it comes to that type of stuff, it's not about you. It is about someone else, and that's what, a lot of people end up forgetting sometimes, and it's why I made the decision to be sober and not drink.
Yeah, I agree.
And, I try to do the right thing, because it's like stuff like this is like, it just makes me even farther away from it.
It hits hard, man. It really does. But, it's it's a lot to take in from this situation. It is, but with the given everything that happened here, there's a lot to take in, soak in, absorb. But we as people need to do a better job and really have better control of ourselves, especially in this today's society and world, and look for that higher power or faith. It's really important. So I mean, that's definitely a message we can push out for this type of episode. But
Yeah.
I really appreciate
Just
having
awareness. Just awareness,
you
dude.
on. I agree, and I appreciate you getting personal here and sharing this with the episode. I mean, this is definitely some
I
powerful
didn't know
stuff.
if I wanted to do this.
It's
when you
okay though.
texted
I
me.
mean,
I'll be honest, I
it's
saw
totally
you
okay.
as soon as you texted me, and it took me all day to just like think about it every little once in a while when I would open up my phone and see like I got answers